On Friday the 15th of August, an enormous 1,631 tonne bridge was rotated 90 degrees, so that the bridge could be moved into position above a key road to the east of Birmingham city centre. Lawley Middleway is a busy and important main road, so the Balfour Beatty Vinci joint venture, constructing the West Midlands section of HS2, were unable to close the road for a significant amount of time. The joint venture therefore decided to move the bridge into position during the evening. This required a number of nighttime road closures starting from the 16th of August. The method used to move the bridge was somewhat unusual and had not been used by BBV before, and I believe it hasn't been used much in the UK. The so-called skidding system first involved using SPMTs, or self-propelled modular transporters, to manoeuvre the bridge into position resting on the system. The SPMTs then worked with the skidding system to slide the bridge over the road. The system uses rails and hydraulic rams to move the bridge, which rested on a pair of what can best be described as shoes, which slid over the rails. Initially, the SPMTs had to work with the skidding system to move the bridge. This meant that the SPMT operator had to ensure that the transporters progressed forward at the exact same rate as the hydraulic rams, which pushed the bridge out over the road. The ends of the rams pushed against a sort of ratchet system, with the other end attached to the shoes upon which the bridge was resting. Each evening, the bridge progressed around 12 metres out over the road, and then when an end guide eventually reached the skidding system on the opposite side of the road, the SPMTs were removed and the whole bridge was moved by the skidding system alone. The road reopened each morning, after which engineering teams prepared for the next move in the evening. The 1,631 tonne bridge was assembled out of weathering steel sections manufactured in Bolton, and was assembled over a period of around 24 months just to the side of Lawley Middleway. Due to the constrained nature of the site, sandwiched between Lawley Middleway and the Digbeth branch of the Birmingham and Paisley Canal, the bridge had to be assembled in the wrong orientation, at 90 degrees to the road. This is why the bridge first had to be rotated using the SPMTs before the move. During my visit to the site on Tuesday the 19th of August, the bridge had progressed around 70% of the way, and the move was in fact ahead of schedule. Now that the bridge is in place, the process of jacking the deck down from the temporary supports onto bearings, which will sit between the bridge and the pre-built piers, can begin. This will mean the bridge will sit approximately 3 metres lower than it is currently. Once the deck has been lowered onto the piers, BBV will then start the task of joining Curzon No. 3 Viaduct to the Lawley Middleway Bridge. This will involve placing pre-manufactured beams onto piers between Lawley Middleway and the canal. The remaining section from the canal to No. 3 Viaduct will be constructed in a similar way to Curzon No. 3 Viaduct, using a scaffold and mould system to build the bridge in situ. This will involve building a complex scaffold system over the canal, which will allow the canal and path to remain open, although a number of closures may be required during the erection of the scaffold system. A further section will have to be constructed to link the Middleway Bridge to Curzon No. 2 Viaduct. No. 2 Viaduct is the striking 150 metre long truss bridge which will cross above the cross-city line. The bridge, which weighs over 4,000 tonnes, will be moved into position next year. Only then can Curzon No. 1 Viaduct be constructed, as the No. 2 Viaduct is currently being built where No. 1 will be located. Once all of the individual spans have been built and moved into position, the deck will be installed, which will be formed from precast concrete panels. These panels will be covered in a layer of in-situ poured concrete to stitch them together. The 1.8 km section of HS2 is perhaps one of the most challenging on the entire route, simply due to the number of interfaces with existing infrastructure. with the line having to cross existing railways, a busy main road, other smaller roads, and a river, situated right in the middle of an active industrial area. The site also has a relatively small footprint, which is why some bridge sections are having to be built first, then moved before further sections can be built. The tracks also begin to fan out from 2 to 3 as they cross Lawley Middleway. From there, the tracks split into a further 7 on Curzon No. 3 Viaduct, which will form the throat of the station. This is the main reason each of the individual bridge elements are being constructed using different methods. But engineers also wanted to leave a lasting legacy, and particularly in the case of No. 2 Viaduct, wanted to build a standout feature. Therefore the bridge, which will be striking on its own, will be lit up at night with a distinctive lighting scheme. I believe the bridge was supposed to be moved this year, but the move was unfortunately delayed. Network Rail did however close the railway as planned and undertook vital maintenance of its infrastructure. This does potentially mean the cross-city line may have to close for a period of time next year, but that is yet to be decided. Although it will be a number of years before the 1.8 km long approach viaduct is complete, it was interesting to see the first signs of what will eventually be tracks. The trace of what will be the rails heading into the station on Curzon No. 3 Viaduct are now visible. I'm not completely sure, but from the footage it looks like the trace has been formed from rebar loops, which will be used as part of the plinths that will support the rails. Eagle-eyed viewers may notice that the weathering steel piers, which were assembled on either side of the canal, have been removed. This is because faults were found with the welds. These faults, originating from steel manufactured by a subcontractor, have not only impacted HS2, but also some new national highway structures. It's frustrating that this has happened, but it was good at least that the issue was identified early. HS2 say that the piers will be reinstalled next year, and added that this will not impact the schedule for the delivery of the approach viaducts. Although there isn't currently a great deal to see in terms of construction of the new Curzon Street station, I am hoping to release an update soon, as it has been around 18 months since my last update, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that video. And just before I go, can I please ask that if you enjoyed this video or found it informative that you give it a like, as it helps the video to get noticed.